Hello and welcome. I'm Daria and that's my first video in English, so I'm sorry for any mistakes I may make along the way. But I really want to share how to make this card using Altenew stamp set, Peony Scrolls and coordinating dies. I already prepared my inks and my front panel as well as a card base. And to make this card I was inspired by this paper napkin. I really like this design. I find it to be funky and artsy and modern, so I will try to recreate it on my card. To make these cards, I will be using creative masking both for stamping and for coloring. So to start off, I'm taking some post-it notes and making my die cutting. I'm using all of the dies from the set to make my die cuts, and I will be using both negative and positive parts to make this card. Next step is stamping. And to be honest, it took me a while, but I love the process and I really like the result. So give it a try, you may like it too. I'm starting building my pattern with the biggest images from the stamp set, with the biggest flowers, and then adding the small ones in between. To stamp my front panel, I'm using each and every one of the stamps included in the stamp set. And to make my pattern seamless and continuous, I'm using some masking. When I want my image to be only partially stamped, I'm taking my masks and secure them in place with some reposition adhesive. I made my masks out of post-it notes and they are somewhat see-through, so it's really easy to line them up. And then I will just stamp over top and voila, our image is only partially stamped and kind of picking from the other images, adding to the depth and making it more interesting. To finish my panel, I also added some small dots and later tiny flowers. You'll see it later. As I finish my stamping, now the fun part starts. That's the coloring, and it's really fun using masking because in the moment when you take it off, it's like a small miracle. So here I'm taking my negative parts of my die cutting and place them over the images I want to color. I don't want to color all of them, I just want some pops of color here and there. So I'm using my self-made applicators, that's a regular makeup sponges and a clothespin. I really like to use them because they're rather cheap and you can reuse them and then you can take a part of it and it's like new. Here's how I'm coloring the images that are only partially stamped on my background. I'm again putting down my masks, my positive parts, and then on the top of it I'm placing the negative part of the die cut. And in this case, only those part of the image that's stamped will be colored. I'm applying my ink with the help of sponge right from the ink pad. And you always can lift it up and see how do you like it, whether it's enough color or you want some more. Just play around and see how it goes. I'm using a really simple color scheme. It's just blues and greens, and I will show you just some couple more examples how I colored those. As you know, the die cut is a little bit bigger than the actual image, and actually I like that effect of not perfectly line up the color of a stamped image, but you can try to make your own masks and see how it goes and try to achieve some other look. I find this one to be really funky and stylish, so I'm using it, but I'm also going to make my own mask for some smaller images from the stamp set that do not have a coordinating die. To do so, I'm just taking another post-it note and stamped the image that I want to make a mask for in some black ink, or you can take any other ink, it doesn't matter. And with the help of my scissors, cutting it out, leaving just a little tiny spots around it, not to be perfectly cut out, just like this. And here I have my mask. You always can adjust it to your needs. For example, like I'm doing it here, I found that I cut off too much from one side, so I'm placing some of the post-it note on top of it, and again applying my ink. So don't be stopped by the fact that you don't have a die cutting machine or any dies. You can always experiment with what you have. For my sentiment, I choose to die cut word friend out of paper tray ink die, and the die says friends, but it's really easy to customize it to your needs. I just cut off S from the end and make it into a friend. I want to emboss it in silver, so I'm using my Versamark ink pad, make it sticky, and then with the help of my tweezers, showering it in silver powder from Hero Arts. I choose this color scheme because I want my sentiment to be seen, but not to be too bright to conflict with my rather graphic background. So I'm heat setting it, and in the end I have really beautiful, almost like a silver embellishment for my card. I also die cut a circle out of vellum to place my sentiment, so it's not, at the same time, it's not lost in this background. To complete my sentiment, I will be using stamp set called Lace Up. It's one of my favorites. It has great sentiments and beautiful, beautiful image of a lace. I use it a lot, but for this particular card, I choose the sentiment "You are made of awesome," and I will be partially inking it up to make it sound like "Friend, you are awesome." So I'm using only the first two and then the last word out of that sentiment. I'm again adhering or securing my vellum circle with some reposition adhesive on my surface so it doesn't move. I don't want it to move while I'm stamping my sentiment. And then I will be heat embossed my sentiment with the same silver powder that I used for my friend words. I trimmed my front panel a little bit so it fits into standard A2 cards. And now when my sentiment is ready and all elements is ready, I can try to position it the way I want it, to see how I want it. And I'm making a little mark where to score this my vellum circle. I'm using my scoring board for this. Of course you can do it without it, just with your hands, but I decided that this time it has to be done right. I don't want to mess it up when I spend so much time on it already. So I'm going to adhere my friend word with the help of glossy accents just on top of the vellum circle. I'm securing it with just my acrylic block so it doesn't move around, and as you see I also heat embossed the small dot over I and also adhere it on my sentiment, and then I will hide the glue behind this biggest word and adhere to my front panel. To make sure that my vellum doesn't move, that it's there 100%, I'm also will be using some tape run adhesive to secure it on the back of my panel. To finish my card, I will adhere my front panel to the card base with the help of foam adhesive, and that will add some dimension and interest. I'm also adding a few sequins, sparkling clear sequins, just to spice it up a little bit. And the card is ready. I hope you found this video helpful on creative masking for both your coloring and stamping using positive and negative parts of your die cutting, as well as how to heat emboss on vellum and make your own silver embellishments. Thank you so much for watching till the very end. I know it was on the longer side. Please forgive me for my mistakes once again, and be sure to drop me a comment and hope to see you sometime soon. Thank you so much, and bye bye.